Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Checking the live stream. It looks like we're going live. All right. Let's see. 1, 2. Okay, we're good. Hi, I'm Glenn, City of Airline Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, we're talking about Let's Talk Fishing. It's our live stream that yours truly likes to use for talking fishing, in particular, some fishing updates. And most recently was, let me move this over here. Most recently was a trip to the Blue River, made the run across to the Blue River in Oklahoma, where it usually was able to limit out on some trout. It's a 3 trout limit there. And guess what? Things were fun. So let me take you to some video, and I'll just walk through what you see here. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Okay, here I am at the, I think it's the parking area just up the top of the big hill, just north of Hughes Crossing. And I was just trying to decide what fly to use, and it turns out, let's see if I can mute this a little bit. Yeah, okay. So the key here was, my plan was to just kind of walk in and walk the barrels and see if, well, let's see what the stocking was. I did hear that at that time they hadn't stocked much north of the crossing area. Initially, they hadn't stocked the catch and release area, but I think the latest post I saw on the Blue River Public Hunting and Fishing Facebook page noted that they did stock the catch and release section, or the catch and release section. I don't know. We'll have to check that again. Anyhow, I'm just kind of making my way up the river, and let's see. This is that one Y. If I make a right, I'll head closer to the downriver to the Hughes Crossing area, or if I can cut to the left, I'll go upriver and kind of head to the barrels. And so what I was doing here was I was just going to stop at every one of the barrels and just see if I saw any trout or fishing activity or fish activity. And I believe in one spot I did see some movement and whatnot, but I decided to just keep on going and get to that last barrel where I've caught fish in the past. But what was kind of different in this round was, oh shoot, I got the volume way up. What was kind of different was this round was the bite was kind of slow up north. I ended up getting just one trout, and well, it wasn't in the area that I expected it to be. I was expected to be where the water movement was, where the waterfall kind of goes into the to the pool of that section of the river, and it turned out it was more downriver, kind of in a slower section. So here I'm just checking out the barrels. I kind of peek to the left and right of it and go on up. I think there's one point where I get up to the rocks, and I think I saw some other folks fishing over there, and I did not see if they were doing well or not. But hey, just as a rule of thumb, stop at the barrels. That's where they stock in those sections of the river, and hopefully you might be able to see something. In my case, I ended up just heading upriver and head to this one spot that I tend to go to. This is the rock section. Right here, you'll see a bunch of boulders and rocks and whatnot. And when the water's flowing pretty good, it may give you a good chance of catching a trout or two there. I did notice that the water was a little milky, murky, but we did have those recent rains. I think we're going to get some rain tomorrow, so things might kind of change again this coming Veterans weekend. So keep that in your back pocket if you're making a trip to the Blue River. Here's a section where I'm going to come up to that waterfall area and start fishing it. And in this case, I'm using a 10-weight or a 10-foot 3-weight fly rod. Initially, I was going to start out doing some Euro nymphing, but as it turned out, it's just better to take out the strike indicator. And there you can see in that area. Let me see if I can get my cursor on there. Yeah, right over here. There's the waterfall there. You just kind of cut through there, and you can see as you're working your way through. Let me stop the video real quick. Okay, a lot of folks will try fishing here. If you got some chest waders, you should be able to make it right over here by this area. If you can see my cursor, right over here where you see these rocks. If you can kind of work your way in there, I do recommend having a wading stick and just kind of work your way through here slowly, and you'll get to the sandbar area. It gets kind of shallow here where you should be able to start casting into the run. And in my case, I was trying to fish this area here where the bubble line was, and it was a really slow bite. Normally I'm able to hook up really well in this area. What ended up happening was it was just further downriver. Let me go ahead and keep running the video now. All right. And when I first start the season, I usually just come all the way across the waterfall, make my way to the other side, but then when I leave, I'll just come up right through the sandbar up into the rock area. But in this case, I'm just taking my way all the way across the waterfall into the other side. Then I'm just going to step into the river here. It looks deep, but it's not. I was wearing pants waders, so it's not a problem just going right in there. But I do recommend having that wading stick because, well, there's some holes, there's some rocks, and some slippery areas that you need to be careful of. Initially, when you get your wading boots and you're going to be in the river, I do suggest having some cleats. Those rocks get really slippery. All right, you can see right here how shallow it is. It's up to below my knees. I'm just kind of working my way over. I'm going to go and set up my stuff on the shore, and then I'm going to start casting. And here, I started out with a olive near deer and a squirmy worm. All right, and this is my intent here was I was going to try doing some Euro nymphing, but again, the water was just not conducive to that, so I just went ahead and put on a strike indicator, 3 foot under, 4 foot under, and just started fishing the area. And like I was saying, initially, here's where I'm just changing things out, but let me see if I can get to it. Let's run it a little bit more. Okay, let me pause it. Okay, so initially, I normally get them right over here, anywhere along this bubble line, just past the rocks, right there when the water movement's good. I'm able to hook up with them, put a strike indicator on there, just find the right pattern, and you'll be able to hook into them. But it was very slow this round. I ended up getting one trout after a good while there. And initially, I got a couple other hits, but not the normal numbers that I've had before in this area. And what was also interesting was there's a little deeper section here, so it'll be really, really shallow and maybe up to your waist at points. But if you come further down, you'll feel it'll start kind of getting deeper on you. That's where I ended up catching the one trout. So let's go ahead and keep running the video now. Here I am. I'm just going to switch out the Euro nymph shorty leader and line that I'm using. I'm going to go back to just a traditional fly line with a strike indicator. All right, and I tried different patterns. I tried that olive near deer, tried the rainbow warrior midge on there as well. And what I didn't try was a mop fly, which guess what? That's what ended up doing well later when I went further downriver over there by the low water crossing, used crossing area. All right, so here I am. I finally hook up with one. This is a good hour or so in. And then for those of you thinking about going up there, it's about a 25, 30 minute my speed of walking. So some folks maybe walk faster. I'm not a fast walker, so about 25, 30 minutes you'll be able to get here. All right, and I'm just going to bring it to shore. And, well, first fish of the day, first fish of the trout season. Well, you got to keep it. All right. So I'm bringing it in. It was putting up a really good fight. It's actually one of the bigger ones that I caught that day. I went ahead and kept this one, and I tried something different. I ended up butterflying it from the back, and I was able to make a kind of butterfly fillet. And I took my knife, and I was able to take the main bones and whatnot, and I was able to cook that one. In fact, I just finished it this past dinner. All right, there he is on that olive near deer. Also, when I was setting up the tandem ring I was using, I normally have a trailing or a lead fly is the olive near deer or a streamer, and then I'll put a improved clinch knot and run a little deal of line about yay long from the bend of that hook on the near deer to a midge that'll trail. And then I saw Tom Rosenbauer, I actually heard Tom Rosenbauer talking with some individual on his podcast, and they suggested using a different tactic. In this case, you use a Orvis tippet knot, and I was able to put the near deer on the bottom and the midge on top, or in this case, the squirmy worm. And I'm going to see what that happens this upcoming season, just to see if, if that one works out better. And the other thing is I like it that you can kind of switch things out really quickly if you need to switch the tippet. So I got the one over there at the northern area, so I ended up going to Hughes Crossing, low water crossing, check things out. Water was much clearer than it was where I was upriver. Water was flowing really good. And one thing, I had my polarized glasses, but I think if you didn't have your polarized glasses, you would have seen some of these trout. In fact, you might get a glimpse of some over here by my feet as I go past this rock, right where it gets a little bit clearer. I'll try and stop it and see if I can show you. Kind of look to the left, right here in this pool area. You'll see some trout. I think I'm going to try getting some video of it right there. Right there. That's about, maybe less than 6 feet away from me from where I'm standing. And it's pretty good sized trout, about yay big. About like that. So anyways, bigger than the one that I caught further upriver. And they were just kind of lurking there, and then they were shooting back up. And this area right here, you definitely can catch them. Just have the pattern that they're wanting to hit that day. All right, so I went ahead and checked things out. There was a fair amount of folks there, but I was expected. It was the opening day weekend, and it was pretty interesting. I did see a lot of folks hooking up with some fish. For yours truly, it was a little bit slower than I anticipate, but hey, that's the way it is. So here, after fishing for about a good hour or so of, not so many bites, I switched over to a mop fly, and that's when things changed. There was another individual to my right who was using a squirming worm and ecstasy. Color looked like, I think it was like a tannish roe-like color, and he was tearing them up. Maybe I got one on the line. Well, he was getting 5 to 6 in that same amount of time. They're all over there. I was under, just dead drifting under a strike indicator, 3 foot, 4 foot under. Just kind of let it drift along in the current, follow that bubble line, and just match it, and then just be ready to set the hook at an indication of a strike. Do like one of my fishing funny videos where I took it from Hank Patterson when he says the number one rule in fly fishing is if it jiggles, if it moves, etc., set the hook. And in this case, that's what worked for me today, or at least that day. The net I'm using, that's that one that I made out of some wood trim stuff, and I use this rubber netting. I highly recommend that. That rubber netting makes things a lot easier to unhook or get the hook off the trout, and just makes life a little bit easier instead of having to untangle your hook and missing some more of the bite. All right, so there's a trout, another one on the mop fly. It was a chartreuse one. Chartreuse. Here, just watch for how I'm setting the hook here. And this was a jumper. In fact, this was a fairly good one. Jumped multiple times. Able to bring that one in. And again, they're just on the other side of this these trees, and there's a little like undercut rocks and whatnot. It'll drop in there. And this is the island. You usually can catch some fish there over here by the island area. Anyways, that was fun. That stayed pretty steady. Like I was saying, I was getting like maybe 1 or 2 hits. The person off to my right, he was definitely getting a lot more. So basically, you have the right pattern and whatnot. What reel is that, Glenn? It's a Hydros SL1, Orvis Hydros SL1. It's one of the older models. I bought it several years ago, and it's worked out really well for me. It's supposedly a 1 to 3 weight reel, and I got a 10-foot 3-weight reel or rod, so it worked out really good. All right, and that's David. Hey David, how's it going? So that's again what was working for me. I did switch out my flies just to see. Once I got my limit, I was like, let's go see what else what'll bite. I got some hits on an orange near deer. I got some hits on a mega worm, as well as another mop fly. But in general, the mop fly was the one that did it for me. And oh, by the way, while you're out there, there's a good chance that you catch some of these green trout as well, right here. And some of the other folks that were kind of watching and fishing in the area, it's just a fun time. Great folks to be out there fishing with on the river. And so that is it on what I did that round. Limited out. It was short sleeve weather, and just basically as a rule of thumb, make sure you bring some wading gear so you can fish the river and get away from the bank area and get a little bit closer to where the action is. And when you do so, bring yourself a wading stick. And let me see, I think I have my fly vest right here. Yeah, it's on this side. Okay, and what I want to show you is, here it is. Okay, this is the mop fly right here. All right. Okay, and it's still got a little deal on there, and very simple tie. Okay, and this was the indicator I was using, little cork strike indicator. I like it. I like using the smallest size indicator that I can, that will maintain the depth of the fly where I want it. So a lot of times you'll see some folks going out there with some big strike indicators, and well, you really don't need a big strike indicator. You need something small. Let me grab it real quick. All right, and right here, that is what you make your mop flies with. A little dust mop that, well, my significant other doesn't know that I took it, but I've got it now, so don't tell her. Anyhow, very simple tie. You just take the dealie here, cut it, and what you're going to do then is, and I've got some videos on it, but what you're going to do is tie it on right over here nearest the bend, and then you'll build a collar from it, okay? And I've got different sizes of them, but for the most part, this is the one, I think 80 something ounce, maybe 164 ounce. Not very heavy at all. All right. Like I was saying, I got some other stuff in here, near deer and whatnot, just to have ready, as well as I've got another fly box in there with the midge patterns that I like using. All right, I just wanted to give an update on how things were going, and other than that, appreciate y'all joining today. And until next time, catch y'all later. Good luck.